what Flick Will Pauly Pick.
Hi everyone, Big Pauly back for a new video series. Yes, this is to complement my What's in the Poundland bin. This is slightly different. This is called What Pick? What Flick Will Pauly Pick? Get it in the right way, you twat. Yes. Whereas the Poundland bin is all about older films, cheap Poundland films that maybe people have seen countless times before, plus also unusual straight to DVD type stuff. This series is all about new releases, new pickups, big films I've never seen before that I've purchased on 4K, such as things like The Wizard of Oz and Scarface and all that lot down there. And also with the Poundland bin, they're kind of spoilers. So the reviews on the Poundland bin, I do go into quite a bit of spoiler territory. With the What Flick Will Pauly Pick series, there'll be no spoilers because a lot of the films will be new releases and I just won't be going into spoilers. So I'll outline the story, give you my heads up on the cast, the editing, direction and things like that, plus also a review a review on the picture and the sound quality. Now in the actual pot, which I shall show you in a minute, there'll probably be quite a few 4Ks. Now I haven't actually got a 4K setup in the home cinema room yet, which I hope to rectify in 2020. So if I do pick out a 4K title, I'll be watching it downstairs on the main TV with the 4K player down there. Then I'll just come back up here and review it for you. So in a minute, I'm going to pick out the first one for the first video. And then after I've seen the film, reviewed it, I'll then pick out another 5. What, you're going to watch 5 back to back? Oh, blimey, if I only had the time. No, what I'll do, I'll pick out 5 and I'll put a thingy up here, one of these iCards with a poll, and then you can actually vote for which film you want me to see on the next video. And then whichever one gets picked, the other 4 will go back in the pot for the next week. It does make sense, it really does. Right, okay, so let's turn the camera around and let's pick out the first pick. I'm actually really excited because all of these are new films and big releases that I've had, purchased over the last year or two that I've never got around to seeing. So we could find anything. Right, let's get on with it. Right, okay, so here's the old pot. Let's take the lid off. Oh, yes. And look at all that lot in there. And I'll be adding to them every week with new releases that I buy. Right, let's pick out the first one then, shall we? Okay, I've got one. Now, as you can see, I have no idea what it is. Actually, I've got 2. Let me just drop that one. There we go. Right, shall we have a look, see what it is? Ooh. Black Klansmen. Oh, that should be interesting. Okay, right. Give me 5 minutes because I've got to find the Blu-ray now.
One eternity later.
Right, okay, I've dug out Black Klansmen. Lovely slip, lots of spot gloss on it. One thing about the reviews, I will actually go through some of the special features and things like that with the video as well. Fantastic. This is a Spike Lee film. I don't watch a lot of Spike Lee stuff. It says a Spike Lee joint at the top. From producer Jordan Peele, fantastic. The most important film of the year. Adam Driver. Didn't know Adam Driver was in it. Blimey, that's a bit Afro-y, isn't it? I must take it set in the 70s. Yeah, set in the 70s. A Spike Lee joint. Bonus features. Cast discuss working with the iconic director. The Black Klansman extended trailer featuring Prince's Mary Don't You Weep. And running time is 2 hours and 15 minutes. Audio Dolby Atmos. Fantastic. Right, okay, so let's stick Black Klansman into the player and watch it. Fantastic. Never seen it. It's exciting, this. Never knowing what you're going to get. I know with Poundland Bin it's exactly the same, but these are like more modern new releases. So I'm excited that I'm actually going to get round to actually watching some. Right, let's stop waffling on because I've been waffling on for too long and stick it in the player. With some nice artwork on. He's rocking that afro. Fantastic. And open we go. In you go, Sonny Jim. Okay, so Black Klansman is in, ready to spin. I've got some popcorn, lately sea salted popcorn, and some ice cold Diet Coke. Let's have a look, see what this is all about then. Okay, so Black Klansman. Oh, I still like that shine. Look at that spot gloss. That's lovely. Yes, okay, so what about the film? I actually did enjoy the film. There was never one boring moment in the entire film. 2.25 hours as well. Nothing dragged. So it was a very interesting story. Based apparently on, like it says on the back of the box here, an outrageous, incredible true story from visionary director Spike Lee. It's the story of an American hero, Ron Stallsworth, played absolutely brilliant by John David Washington. I don't think I've seen him in much. He becomes the first African-American detective in the Colorado Springs Police Department. He wants to like make a difference. You know, there's all the upheaval that's going on in America with, you know, white power and like the Black Panthers and things like that. He wants to make a difference and gets the opportunity as an undercover detective to infiltrate the local Ku Klux Klan, or the organisation as they call it. The only problem is, as you can see, he's a guy of colour. So how would you expect him to infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan? Well, that's where Adam Driver comes in. So Ron Stallsworth here is the voice over the telephone to the organisation whenever he's talking to the boss or talking to the bloke in charge. But in order to actually infiltrate the actual KKK, they've got to send Adam Driver in, and he's got to pretend to be him. Their voices are kind of similar. This bloke doesn't talk with, how can I put it, like a brother jive accent. He actually at times can sound white, and they didn't realise that on the phone, so that was an easy way of actually infiltrating the KKK. Now, although the subject matter is quite delicate to handle, obviously Spike Lee is known for doing this sort of thing, and even though it does get dark sometimes, there is a light-heartedness to the film as well. There are some really nice moments in the film. There are some inspirational moments. There's a speech right at the beginning of the film, a Black Power rally that Ron attends, and the guy that's giving the inspirational speech, I'm pretty sure it's the bloke from Six Underground, and he was also the new Jack Bauer in, I think it was 24 Legacies, I think it was, or Legacy. But yeah, he did a really good speech. There's a lot of inspirational messages there, but it also shows you the struggles that the black race has had over the years, over the decades. And what's weird is that it's still going on now. You hear about, like in the news, you know, some white police officers in America pull over a black teenager in a car. It's still modern now. So even though you might think that we've moved on, there are still a lot of racist attitudes out there, So yeah, at times it can be a little bit hard to watch, but it's a very intriguing story, and I like how they pulled the story off and the direction that it went in. But yeah, it was a really good film, really good. 2.25 hours. It usually takes a good film to keep me entertained for 2.25 hours, I'm telling you that. But really good. Characters were absolutely fantastic. John David Washington, who played Ron Stallsworth, I don't think I recognise him from anything. I might have to actually Google him because I'm surprised he was the lead and that I never heard of him. But obviously Adam Driver was in there. There's a few other characters that I recognised as well. Even playing, you know, the white supremacists, you know, the KKK. But yeah, everybody pulled it off. Everybody was absolutely fantastic. The cast, I couldn't fault any of the cast. The direction was absolutely fantastic as well from Spike Lee. The music was great. I love the music. Sometimes going from just subtle like undertones and strings, and then going to like some dance music in a disco and things like that. So editing was on point. Had no problem with the story. Followed everything of the story all the way through. Had no problem there. Picture quality was really good. Obviously being sort of like set in the 70s, there's lots of brown tones and, you know, brown leather jackets and not exactly a dull look, but a 70s-esque look. Sound was really good. It was Dolby Atmos, which didn't act heavily on overheads. The sound stage was really wide, so gunshots I could hear behind, cars I could hear behind. There were a couple of actual instances where the Atmos speakers actually did kick in, such as when Ron was in the nightclub, and I could hear music all over my head as if I was standing right in the middle of the dance hall, which was really, really funny. All I needed now was some disco lights, and I would have been right in boogieing. And there was a couple of scenes at the end as well where some atmospherics went over the top. But yeah, on the most part, really good. Really enjoyed it. As I say, there's some bonus features in the middle there. A Spike Lee joint, Ron Stallworth, Jordan Peele, who was a producer, and the cast discuss working with the iconic director. A Black Klansman extended trailer featuring Prince's Mary Don't You Weep. Probably a music video, I'm not sure. But it was 2 hours and 15 minutes. The aspect ratio was 240:1. So you will get your black bars. And Dolby Atmos, which was really nice. Especially on a Blu-ray. We don't often get Dolby Atmos on Blu-rays. They're usually tucked aside and just given to 4Ks. So the first one out of the red tin is Black Klansman, and yes, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it, even though sometimes certain parts of it were a little bit difficult to watch, but it was a very well produced film from Spike Lee. So how would I rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm going to give Black Klansman 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, I was entertained for 2.25 hours, which is very rare sometimes. And I never got bored, was totally engrossed in the characters, and was just an all-round great film. So 8.5 out of 10. Okay, so that's Black Klansman done. So that will go in the scene pot. Well, ice cream pot, but that's the only pot I've got. Right, let's take the lid off. And we need to pick out 5, which will form next week's vote. So here we go. Right, oh, that's a job. Right, the first one to come out the pot is Lady Bird with Saoirse Ronan, I think her name is. Lady Bird. Let's pick another one. It's so good doing it with one hand. What have we got? It Follows. Okay. And what have we got here? Ooh. Sausage Party. Oh, this is going to be an interesting mix. Scarface. And the last one, Darkest Hour. Okay, so they are the choices for next week. Let me just put them all into one little order. There we go. So we have Darkest Hour, Sausage Party, Scarface, Ladybird and It Follows. Brilliant. Okay, so you'll be able to choose which one you want me to watch. I'm going to stick one of those cards up the top here, one of those eye cards with a poll. Just click on the eye, click on the vote and just select which one you want me to watch. I've got a feeling I know which one it's going to be. Bloody hell, what's going on with my hair? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this first episode of What Flick Will Pauly Pick. I've got to get into the habit of not saying what's in the Poundland bin because it's going to get very confusing. Yes, What Flick Will Pauly Pick. So I hope you enjoyed it. Like it by giving it some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share if you've seen the film, what you thought of the film, what the best part of the film you thought was. And I'll see you on the next flick. Bye.